Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Desire Dilemma, a podcast that amplifies immigrant voices in America. I'm Funmi Apantaku-Onayemi, your host. Immigrants leave their homelands to better their lives in the US. Surprisingly, many also come to visit and choose to stay. The choice to stay comes with uncertainties and grueling challenges due to long immigration processes. In 2022, the US issued over 200,000 visiting visas. Our guest today came with an ante. Our decision to stay has become a realization of the American dream. She's driven to assist others to overcome some of the challenges they face. Mirabel Wiryen is a trauma-informed care provider and telehealth certified practitioner. She currently works as a case manager where she provides holistic support for young asylum seekers. She has received several awards for community service and the Governor of Illinois' award for initiative during the COVID pandemic. Mirabel is from the Central African country of Cameroon, a country of 27.9 million people as of 2022. It is a country of blended cultures due to its multi-ethnic population and its location at the crossroads of Africa. It's a beautiful country of beaches, mountains, deserts, rainforests, and savannas. Hello, Mirabel, and thank you for joining us on Desire Dilemma. You know, the first time I met you, that was at the Chicago African Summit. I just couldn't help myself but to notice your drive, you know, the confidence in which you presented everything that's happening to Black immigrants that you know in the Chicago area. So to start, before we get to that conversation, I wanted to tell us a bit about you coming from the Cameroon with your auntie. Why did you come?
Well, just like other people, and thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you two at the United African Organization Chicago Summit. It's a blessing to be connected to someone like you. I've always looked for someone in a community like you to look up to, and I'm blessed truly. Like many other people who come from other countries, we all come with a dream to succeed, to be better than our parents, to do well, and to open the doors for our family members to come to the United States and get the right education and the career of our dreams. So definitely that was like the goal, was to be able to bring the change.
First time you heard that you had the opportunity to come, how did you feel?
I was excited. And then the day of coming arrived, and I realized I was not going to see a lot of people for a long time. So it was like a mixed emotion. I was happy to go, but I was like, I'm going to miss these people. But then I overcome that, and I realized in order to bring change in your life, you also have to be ready to face the changes that comes with it.
So which city did you fly into?
Oh, I flew in Newark, New Jersey, actually. That was my first place. I came to New Jersey.
Was that in the summer or?
That was the spring, actually. That was April. Yeah.
Still cold too, though.
Yeah, it was still chilly, and I was shocked because it was sunny outside and it was cold, and I was confused about that whole thing. I think my surprise thing, that something I questioned myself was like, how is it that it's beautifully sunny outside and it's cold at the same time?
That's always a shocker.
Yes.
But once we come, you have to have that drive. And the first time you actually started to do anything,
yes.
Did you do that in New Jersey, or did you leave New Jersey to be somewhere else?
I left New Jersey to come to Chicago. Yeah, so I left New Jersey and I moved to Chicago because I learned that Chicago had more opportunities. Chicago was more immigrant friendlier, even though New Jersey is, but Chicago was a little bit more friendlier in terms of going to schools, and the opportunities were more relaxed for someone like me who was just starting out.
So when you left your country, the plan was to actually visit or to stay?
Oh, the plan was to stay.
So what was that process like?
I moved to Chicago, and then I began the process, which took a long time. And the only thing I can always tell anybody who had to be in the waiting process is to not focus on the wait. Do something whilst you're waiting for either your documents to come out or your situation to change. Have a skill that is your own, that you know how to do to make money.
Did you have one?
Oh, yes. I was a jack of all trades. I'm a professional babysitter. I'm a hairdresser. I can cook pretty much everything. And I could clean. So, yeah, being domestically trained, I had all those skills, and I didn't realize that they would help me when I get to the United States. So when I came, there was nothing really happening at the time. So I will babysit for money. I will braid hair for money. I will cook. I will fry puff puff. I will make porridge yam. I will cook stew. I make goat stew, everything that you can name it. I will cook it if somebody needed, or having a party and all that. If you needed cleaning, I was there to do it.
So you were your own corporation.
Yes.
Mirabel International.
Yeah, exactly. Bell Unlimited is the business that's running.
That's good though, because that's how many people had to survive before they went through the process. So now you've been to school, and of course you now have your background is social work.
Yes.
Right. And you tell me about how you got into social work, because
Well, that's quite an interesting story indeed. When I came, everything was nursing, and I was in for it. I got my CNA, I did all the necessary stuff that I needed. And then I still didn't have my documents yet. So furthering myself into nursing was a challenge, but I did not stop school because of that. I just kept looking for avenues that would help me stay in my educational pathway. And when I couldn't continue with nursing because I didn't have my documents at the time, I went for early childhood education, specifically for special need. And then I also hit the roadblock with that one, because I couldn't work with kids if I didn't have all the documents needed. And so I thought, oh gosh, now my life is over. I can't do all the things I love to do. I'm passionate about kids. I want to know about special education because it's something our community don't know. I can't be a nurse. Everybody's wanting to be, and what else now? And somebody who came where I was said, oh, my wife is a special education social worker. And I was like, what is a social worker? I just thought, and it has to do with special education. It's a social worker. Okay, I need to find out what that is. And that's when I took off. I said, I'm going to go to Governor State. I'm going to find out if I can get into a social work program. Without knowing what really it is, I went there. They called me for an interview. And the interview was just the professor asking me, oh, how many siblings do you have? And we happen to have the same number of siblings. And boom, that was my interview. And that was the end of it. I was accepted in the program. I was never asked about this document or that document. And that's how it worked out for me. And from there, that's how I ended up at Governor State and in the social work program.
And so how did that tie into your work with the United African Organization?
So I got to Governor State, and the first year, they started talking about internships. And I was like, how am I going to do an internship? Where am I going to do an internship that matches what this new field that I am in? And I talked to one of my professors, Professor West. She's actually Dr. West. She's still at Governor State, but I think she's now in another department. Dr. West, Dr. Glass, those are some amazing women at Governor State that I can never forget about. Dr. Grumbach, yes, so those are my heroes. So Dr. West handed me her phone. Oh, I know some African person named Ali Kaba. He runs an organization. Call their office and see if you can, get help. And so I took the phone, I called them, I set an appointment. And when I went in, I explained my situation, and they asked that I should come and volunteer with them first so they will get to know me a little bit more. So I volunteered with them that first year. And then the second year, where I was supposed to start the internship, I asked Governor State and United African Organization to partnership and sign a contract. So United African Organization came out and signed a contract with Governor State so that I will go there and do that internship. So I had to literally navigate my own way and build my own pathway where I will do my internship. And that's how I was able to intern with no problems, with no challenges of what I have or didn't have. And that's how United African Organization and Governor State united.
So you've actually set your own trend.
Yes.
And that was what I saw in you that day, that, oh my gosh, the way you were asking questions and most of what you were saying, that actually propelled us to get into very tangible discussions about Black immigrants in the Chicago area and actually in the US. So when you talk about that, I know social workers, but I've never done social work. So I will imagine that is a lot, it's kind of delicate. So tell me how you've been able to work with immigrants, knowing what you know when you came in and what they now face today.
Well, that's a good question. And I think that the immigrant communities don't know about social workers. It's not a common thing in their home countries. Maybe some people at a high level knows about it, but a lot of people don't know what social workers do. And so first people discouraged me from going in because they said, oh, there's no money in that field. Why would you want to be a social worker? And so I was like, okay, fine. But then when I got into it, I realized social work is not a one-path thing. It's many things. You can be a social worker for immigrants and refugees that deals with immigration issues and related issues for migrants. You can be a social worker in the hospitals and you are still dealing with the same thing because you will see us everywhere. You can be a social worker in a school track and you deal with children who are coming from different countries navigating their needs. You can be a social worker in the military track, working with veterans who are coming back from war zone or working in the base in other countries. And who are really social workers. You will never see a badge that says social work. Social workers are project managers. Social workers are coordinators. Social workers are community developers. Social workers are leaders in our community that we don't know. So, but when it's just put under the box of a social work, people are confused. Social workers are the people that will help you when you work in that building and you're confused and don't know what to do. You just know that there's some good woman who helped you or some good person who helped you find your way. There's somebody who connected you to the right resources. And so that's to break it down so the people can know just the simplest part of what a social worker is. And I realized that my whole life I've been a social worker without even knowing.
I'm trying to bring in the fact that you actually did something quite remarkable during COVID. Can you tell us about that?
Wow. So during COVID, I was with United African Organization and we did a lot of work. And there were so many people coming in from the southern border. Immigrants were arriving from Cameroon, Nigeria, Senegal, Benin, Togo, Congo, Ghana, and other countries and South America, but we were dealing with the African arrivals. And so one day there's a woman who arrived in our office. She had had a baby in the Panama jungle. And this child was 4 months old. The child had not seen a doctor or anything or seek any help. And they arrived in our office and I said, but where's the child's diaper? And the woman goes, we don't have anything. I said, so how have you been able to feed the child or change the diaper? She goes, we don't have anything. We just change and clean the child in the bathroom and then we go. And I've just had a baby and I'm thinking, I would not want to be in this position. This will be very, very difficult. As a mother, I stood there, the little things I had in my office for my child, I gave it to them. But then I said, what will happen from here? What else? What next? I went to Nancy, who is the exclusive director of United African Organization, and I asked her permission if I could create a program and connect to resources or connect to companies that can provide us the resources we need to support mothers like the one we had just received. And she said, yes, go for it. Nancy's she's an amazing woman, and she said, go for it. And I took off that day. I started emailing out to different places, and in a week's time, they reached out to me. I asked her for permission to sign a contract, and the companies were now willing to donate diapers, clothing, anything that could help a pregnant woman all the way up to 5-year-old children. They were going to provide UAO. And over time, I negotiated our way so they can keep the program full-time, and UAO became a full partner and member of those programs, whereby the companies will continue to supply them diapers, baby food, clothing, and just all the basic needs that a pregnant woman and a mother with children will need. And so that's how we gave birth to Mom and Babies. So I named it Mom and Babies because it was really for mothers and babies. And up to date, United African Organization gets diapers and other items supplied to the Mom and Baby program within the United African Organization. So mothers can go there monthly. I don't know if they've changed, but I used to make sure that mothers come in anytime they want to get the basic needs for their children, if possible. Because during COVID, if you were undocumented, nobody knew you. You didn't have a job anymore. Even if you were under the table, that didn't work. So how do you feed your children, buy diapers, buy their food, pay bills when you are struggling to survive without being documented? And so the program was really successful. Women used to come in lines, in numbers, and you get a supply for a month. So if somebody comes in, they get diapers for 1 month supply, and then the next month they'll come again. And we ended up, I was looking at my phone because I have a WhatsApp group for mom and babies. And I think we have close to 400 people on that right now.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very impressive.
Who just comes in for those basic needs. And so I would say that's something that was really very successful. And beside that, I ran the COVID Relief Fund during COVID. That's how I got to also connect to all these families. So the COVID Relief Fund was for those who were undocumented in the state of Illinois and could not receive the government funds that were being given during COVID to those who are paying taxes. So if you didn't have documents, you didn't pay taxes, so you will not receive those funds from the government. So there was a program created from the state of Illinois to help those who were undocumented in different immigrant communities, and we represented the African community.
Wow. Well, that's quite remarkable, and I commend all of your work. Because, not too many people know to go to UAO for help, and to now know that, they don't know. And so we now need to really talk about that much more so that they can get the help they need.
And so I used to, when we started the COVID Relief Fund, I used to literally work till 2 a.m. reaching out to people, convincing them to come for the money because they were scared. And I explained to them what the program is meant for and why. And the first time we received, I got 200 people. The second one, we got to 1,000 something. The third one, we were at over 3,000.
Are you serious?
Yes. And people were receiving what? They started with 1,500, just for you, no string attached. Then it go to 2,000. If you had more families, the money was increased. And so I ended up, there was a day where we had over 100 people in our office because the first batch received their money and they went and shared the news.
And they told their neighbors.
Like, yes.
I'll tell you my first experience with a refugee type setting, and that actually did something to me as well. I went to this refugee office, north side of Chicago, and I saw this very old woman that could have been probably even older than my own grandmother. She just sat there, she just sat there. And I couldn't tell you what she was looking at. It was like she was just spaced out. And I kept looking at her because we went there for a program. I kept looking at her. I got into my car and I wept from the north side to UIC.
Yes.
And my colleague kept saying, why? What's happened? I said, I kept thinking of my grandmother. Imagine her being uprooted from Nigeria to a country where she doesn't know anyone and can't even speak the language.
Yes.
And I said, I just couldn't help. But look at this woman. You know what that got me to? That now started the discussion about how to help immigrants in some way in terms of their health.
Yes.
And since my work was in the research of cancer, we were able to now develop a program that we call Driving to Better Health, because we knew that a lot of immigrants did taxi driving. So we were able to pipe that program in so we can. So that's why I'm saying we have a few things in common. And you sound like a younger version of me in my day. So tell me something. What challenges do immigrants face, most immigrants, if you have to sum that up? Like the number one challenge. Okay, don't let us say challenges. Let's say number one challenge.
Well, the number one challenge is getting their document. I would say that because that affects the overall being. And I always tell them that even though that's the number one challenge is feeling that you're undocumented, for those who are in that category, that's their challenge. The second challenge is housing for them. But in general, what we face as an immigrant community as a whole is the right information. Getting the right information is the key to all our problems. Talking to the right person is the key to all our problems. Sharing the information that will carry the next person to another level is another problem. So I would say information, the right information. Not having the right information can keep us in a space for 10 years. Because here in the United States, all you have to do is make one mistake, and then it takes 10 years for you to recover from that bad mistake. So when you don't have the right information, and when you don't know where to seek the right information, you will be going around and around and around with a degree, with a doctorate degree in your pocket, with the right things in your pocket, and don't know where to put it, don't know where to get the right job. But it's not because we don't have the information. We have the information. We are not sharing it.
So do you see a future in which we actually break that barrier?
I believe it's happening. And that's why I'm having the conversation with you this morning, because that's meeting at the summit was that I saw the change, but we still have to overcome thinking that somebody's here to take what is mine. No, it's for all of us. If we can unite fully, we will definitely, and not only unite fully, but know where to position our talents will balance out where we are going. You cannot put somebody who cannot speak about a situation for the community in a position where they are managing money. So you must know who to put ahead of your game to be the voice, because everything starts from how you sell it, how you tell it. The story is only as good as how you tell it. If somebody cannot tell the story, cannot send them to be a messenger, how are they going to start? If they don't even know how what is happening inside that community, the ins and out, the challenges and the struggle, the things that they have never experienced, they will never know how to tell it. They'll only tell it from their point of view. But when you've experienced something and you've lived through it and you've worked through it and you have been there and see others and help others through it, then you can tell that story differently. That's how we even get the fundings that funds the programs, right? It's telling the stories of your clients or the stories of the people who have experienced that journey, so that the person who is giving you can really give based on evidence and facts. So when we unite and understand our talent, then we move forward to the next.
So talking about your drive and how you've been able to start trends, you are also about to leap into another area in which we need a lot of help, and that is home health. Tell us about that.
Well, home health is really my husband's thing. He's been in the healthcare for over 20 years, and it's always been his dream to run a home health. And when he started going into it, I was like, okay, I'm a social worker. Let me know how I can help. When you get to the state level, let me know. We can handle that. And he is an amazing, hardworking husband, father, dedicated to his job. As you know already, he's a Nigerian. You can't beat that. And so, he's passionate about it. He works day and night to make sure that this is, he's doing the right thing and have the right things in place, the right documents are in place, and how to prepare. So it's a very, it's a blessing. And I listen to him. He's always talking about, what do we leave for our children as immigrants? Should we just come here and work and work? Yes, it's not everybody who can go in for business. That's one thing we need to be aware of as well. You have to know what you're doing to go into business. It is not easy. And so I'm inspired by his hard work. I support him where he needs me to support him. And we are very soon, everything should pick up soon, really soon. So we'll definitely be coming back to the community to talk more about the company and maybe hire those in the community that are seeking for employment.
That would be wonderful, because as you know, we always need those hiring. We have a lot of people out there without jobs, and so we need that help. And I'm so encouraged by this because, again, when we talk about stories of immigrants, whatever way we've got to do it, it's almost as if we come with that drive and we just forge ahead, and nothing stops us. Even though you say you're going to come and talk about the new plan for you and your husband, we'll at least begin to mention it. How is that?
Definitely.
Okay. So we'll put it on our site, and we hope that people will start to at least think about what you're planning to do and start moving toward, maybe contacting you and getting some support from you.
Actually, I do that already. Within the suburbs area, I try to work with the African churches, unite them so that they can get visibility and get the support they need from their various cities or township or, wherever they are located. Because that's another place where our people are, they gather every Sunday or wherever, whatever days they get together. That's how I'm able to also help people connect them with resources. So right now I'm working on Bell Unlimited services. So the name of what I'm really and this is going to be bigger than just services, but I'm using it as a base to say Bell Unlimited Services is going to be my own platform that I'm working towards to create a space where people can seek resources, know what's happening within the immigrant communities, and understand when, what kind of help they need and who they should go to. I'm open and ready to help people connect with those kind of resources. I get calls all the time, and that's been one of the things that I do. I don't do because somebody pays me. I believe that helping one another is one of the things that we need to continue to do in our community as Africans, as Black. We need to connect to those who own businesses to help us hire people in our communities. And I see this in other communities, but they hire their own people first. So if we have somebody who owns a business, we should support them.
That's true.
We should encourage them. We should show that support so that tomorrow, if you need a job, they will be the one to help you, or they'll be the one to show you how they did it. Instead of looking at it the other way, we should look at it as a positive thing to connect and learn how it's done. So I am truly blessed to be here, and I thank you very much.
And I thank you very much. So we wish you the best in your new endeavors, actually. So thank you for coming, and we really appreciate how you've been able to lead us into understanding what UAO does and what you are about to start to do, and how immigrants can come to the organization and to your business to get some assistance. Thank you so much for being with us on Desire Dilemma. Thanks also for the passion you bring to immigrant matters in the U.S. To our audience, thank you for listening to our podcast on immigrants' desires to come to America and their dilemmas while staying in America. We hope this episode has been helpful and informative. Remember, adapting to a new culture can be difficult. With the right guidance and support, it is possible. We want you to share our podcast. We also want you to call us or go on our website, desiredilemma.com, for more episodes. Thank you so much for being with us today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.